Our sponsors for this episode are Gambino's Pizza in Newton. Gambino's Pizza in Newton is located at 1029 Washington Road in Cedar Village. They are open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. If you love pizza as much as I do, you know that you always have time and room for pizza. Not only can you dine in or carry out, but they have a huge menu of items to pick from, including wings, pizzas, salad bar, and not only that, but they have the only pizza buffet in Newton. If you're looking for a family-friendly environment or just need to stop in for a quick lunch over the noon hour, Gambino's has got you covered. Visit Gambino's Pizza in Newton at 1029 Washington Road in Cedar Village, or give them a call at 316-866-1778. That's 316-866-1778 to order out or ask questions. You can even order online. Look them up on Facebook, give them a like, follow, and a share. Gambino's Pizza in Newton. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater, located at 114 South Kansas Avenue in Newton, is one of Newton's best kept secrets. Or maybe you know about them and have already stopped in or carried out some of the most delicious Mexican food in our region. If you're just hearing about them, you need to give them a try. If you're a repeat customer, you'll already know why. Give Carlos's Kitchen and Cater a call at 316-804-0158. That's 316-804-0158. Or you can stop into 114, that's 114 South Kansas Avenue. Make sure to look them up on Facebook, give them a like, follow, and share. And don't forget, folks, tell your friends. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater. The Newton Kansan is Newton's longest-running local newspaper covering all the stories, people, places, and things happening in our community. Chad Fry, the Kansan guy, editor of the Kansan, works diligently to ensure integrity, accuracy, and unbiased news is delivered to your doorstep 3 times a week for an unbeatable price. You can also sign up for online-only access for around $7 a month. That's 12 online papers a month for only $7. If you've not subscribed, it's time you do. Visit them in their office at 517 North Main Street. That's 517 North Main Street in Newton. Online at thekansan.com. That's thekansan.com. Or give them a call at 316-283-1500. That's 316-283-1500. Support local journalism, support the Kansan. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this HCTalk podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lance Gormley, and our 2 special guests, once again, to spread as much hate and discontent in Harvey County as humanly possible. We have Andy Ortiz, local entrepreneur and businessman, but also USD 373 school board member right now, and possibly for the duration. We don't know yet. Elections are coming up soon. And Chad Fry, the Kansan guy, who writes every article impartially, without any manipulation, emotional tactics.
If it's there, it's unintentional.
Unintentional. So give him the forgiveness necessary when forgiveness
and you know,
necessary.
I don't often respond to anonymous letters, but I will respond to anonymous letter right now. It's unintentional. Go complain to somebody else.
Yeah. Well, I know that I have never had Chad violate my First Amendment right to free speech by not printing something in the paper that I wanted printed in the paper, regardless of whether it was slanderous or not.
Boy, we're just starting with a banger.
I will tell you, you're gonna find what you look for.
Yeah. Wait, which will bring us to our topic today that we promised the audience we would talk about, which is politics and the psychology behind it. So since you know that this entire podcast is nothing but 100% political speech talk and covering those issues,
That's
if
right.
You're a listener, you would know that.
100%.
So anywho, we'll just move on as as we so see fit right here today. And I would just like to know, how is your guys' week?
Oh, I'm exhausted. So, we'll just start there and end there for me. Yeah, it's just one of those weeks, man.
Triple hat,
Yeah.
Chad is the triple hat trick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Andy?
Fantastic.
I'm interested. I got to know. What was the thing that you talked about last week that you couldn't release on the program because it was before a certain
I'm still not
standard?
sure there's publications going to be going out soon, but we'll just say there was a purchase of a business that I'm affiliated with.
Okay.
And I think it might be, I don't know, there's a paper in another town going to release that. And
Okay.
So anyways,
Very cool.
it's exciting.
So when the time comes, we will know.
Yeah, and it'll probably be next time we meet.
Okay. Okay,
All
so
right.
I'm going to bring it up and ask again.
All right.
But other than that,
It's
your week
exciting.
was good. I know that you didn't you have like some forms or something that you did?
Yeah. We had some bond forums where we showed up, and the public showed up to get information on the bond and what's going on there. And we took a tour. I tell you, I was never more inspired than I was with the gals who led us on our tour from Chisholm. I'm telling you, this generation is special, and we're going to be okay. We're going to be fine.
The kids are all right.
We're going to be fine.
Yep, the kids
pendulum
are all
is
right.
swinging back the other way.
It was almost unbelievable how amazing they were in taking us down that tour, and I could have not done that at their age. And they just did so many things right, and they played off each other, and they were giving each other eye contact and moving in and out, the trio that took us on that visit. And I'm thinking, man, they're going to lead the world like nobody's business. Yeah. So anyways, it was exciting. It's been a good week.
Yeah, very good.
Real
very
good week.
My week was decent. Just grinding it out. And I just want once again to say, as I've said on the program before, everybody, life is all about hills and valleys. And the idea is that every day we just wake up, we put our best foot forward. We're all going to make mistakes at some point in time, and we're all going to have successes. So just keep going. Every day is a new day. Every day you get to wake up and you get to do the best that you can, put your best foot forward. So just do that. That's what's the most important. So without further ado, Chad, what do you have that you'd like to talk about that you either have written or was published in the Kansan in the last week, or something that may be coming up that you think is just everybody needs to know?
Publishing Saturday is a little bit of just a little bit of a feature type story that's calling attention to an art installation at Norms.
Okay.
Right, and that art installation is masks that were created on behalf of Safe Hope. A number of those were created by survivors of domestic violence. But in their process to create this thing, Safe Hope didn't ask anybody, are you a survivor? And they just didn't, and that's fine. It's probably more appropriate to not ask. And but I went and saw it yesterday, and Heather Murrow, who is one of the coordinators over at Safe Hope and one of the people that coordinated this project, I think she put it best. It's beautiful, it's moving, and it's pain. So I just, I've got some statistics in that story that I think should raise some eyebrows for people. Remember that Safe Hope serves multiple counties. Harvey, Marion, and McPherson, I believe, are I don't think there's more than 3, but I've got that information in the story too. And also in that story, there is at least one, and I have not been able to pick it out of the lineup yet, and I don't know if I will be able to, but there's one made by a man. And described as an elderly man who's finally been able to release what happened to him in his younger days when he was married. So that kind of goes back to, what we talked about last week, right? That domestic violence is a huge issue. It's a big deal. There's a lot of it, and it affects every gender.
Yeah. It's and I don't want to stop because I want you to stay on a roll with the Kansan, but I was very surprised at the amount of people, men, who reached out and said, "Thank you for telling the story," because this story doesn't get told. And one individual went back and forth, and I know you're an avid listener, so you're listening right now, but their experience with that was more of being in a situation to see, not that it happened to him personally, but yet to realize that, hey, over so many years I've experienced from a third person perspective, viewing that yes, in fact, this is a very real thing, and it is underreported, and it is a situation where it's not gender specific, right? And so then other people reached out and said, there's no resources for us, men who are involved with that. The somebody else that reached out said, it's very interesting that when we talk about whether or not we are to believe the victim, that generally speaking, in their opinion, from their viewpoint, is, well, if you're a female, then they want to believe the victim all the time. But yet when you're a male, then the question becomes whether or not you're believable or not. So I think it's very important this month that we do continue, everybody listening and everybody that has somebody in their life that says, hey, this happened to me, that regardless of whether it's a female or a male, that you take the time to understand that they too, in fact, are victims. I mean, I've even seen some negative comments, right? Like, for instance, how would a man, once particular, I took a screenshot of it because I just wanted to marinate on it for a while, but it was not even on our content, but somebody else's content, and it had to do with a news article that was reported about a gentleman. It was a woman that was arrested in Salina. And what happened is she slapped her significant other, and then the neighbor saw it, so called the police, and she was arrested for domestic violence. And some of the comments on there from men were, imagine calling the police because your girlfriend slapped you. And so this is something it's normalized.
Yeah, it's
like,
normalized.
oh, well, you're a man, so you should be subject to domestic violence and it be okay. Or you're some kind of a weak person if you're not, the whole thing. So it just plays into that. But yeah.
Hey, folks, if you're asking questions like that, then do yourself a favor and start taking a look at how divorce court works. Because if there's any place in our system that is heavily tilted against men, there it is.
It's pretty bad.
It's really bad. Really bad. There are men out there that if they file for divorce, they are going to end up homeless.
Or
think about that.
And we'll say this:
nuts.
File for a divorce, and then all of a sudden they're the abuser now.
Right.
Where there was no abuse, they're the abuser now.
Right.
And they didn't know.
For me,
that
the
they
scariest
were
thing is
abuser.
you're probably going to lose your kids most of the time.
Yeah.
90%.
No pass go.
Or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More. I mean,
or more.
I'll look up the stats and we'll maybe tag it under this. But
yeah.
It's
we should look up.
It's,
I sat with a
19% of men who get a divorce.
I sat with a juvenile
have
this
residential
week.
Custody.
I sat with a juvenile this week who is whose custody is in his mother, and I'll be honest, she is totally unfit. Totally. And I don't base that just on talking to the juvenile. I talked to the juvenile's grandma.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, grandma happens to be mom's mom. The woman is completely unfit to be a parent. But she's got custody.
Well, and you don't know.
And on top of that, when the divorce went down, who was paying child support?
Obviously, yeah.
And who was paying the rent? And who was doing nothing other than abusing their kid? I mean, This is real, people.
And I have to say, in an effort to not be gender specific, although we can look at these statistics and say 19% of men are able to get residential custody of their child after the divorce, there are
Is it 19% of men that fight it? What's the specifics on that?
Well, that's just when two individuals, male, female, have children, go into divorce court. I think it's 19% of men are able to secure residential custody of their child. Now, that
we're not even talking about the definition of marital funds.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and see, this is flipped
it's just nuts.
Because in the past, pre-1970s, right, early 80s, men generally were the ones to secure residential custody of the children based upon the ability to provide. So there's a lot that goes in there that could be said, well, you know, if you have the mother that stays home and provides for the children, obviously she doesn't have the finances readily available in order to take care of the children because dad went off and worked, mom stayed at home. But you know, we could get into something here.
We're off on a tangent.
But you talk about what is the definition of abuse. That's very loose nowadays as far as just, yeah. Okay. So back
There's
to
the one I was looking at.
Okay. What do you got? Andy?
Shared custody is an increasing common arrangement with approximately 11% of cases resulting in equal split of time.
Yeah. 50-50.
Yeah.
11%.
11%.
And we don't,
In the vast majority of cases, custody is awarded to the female.
Fathers fight for custody in court in a minority of divorces. One report indicates that fewer than 4% of divorces involve fathers fighting for custody. And 91%, that's the one that I was thinking of, cases are resolved with mothers receiving custody by mutual agreement.
Wow.
But it's been a trend where you're taught not to fight and pull the kids from mom.
Well, and then also
I mean, that's where I was.
Not making
let's be straight up. Let's be straight. If you're going to fight for custody, what's that going to take? It's going to take a lawyer. And you're already financially, but when you hit that divorce court, you're already going to be behind the financial eight ball.
Well, statistics will tell you that a lot of time women will prepare for 6 to 8 months, sometimes a year, for that situation, and men most of the time get caught off guard because we're clueless to that. And it's just, you look at the data and you look at the stats and how this is usually done, and it usually goes most of the time. And I don't have all the stats on me; we could look them up real quick, but the person who files basically has the hand up.
Mm-hmm. Well, in 70% of cases or more, women are the ones that file for divorce.
Right.
So, it goes into say what you're saying is if somebody's going along, not thinking that line would be crossed, and then all of a sudden they're caught off guard. But it's an interesting thing because when we talk about the societal roles that are played, which is the man is to be the provider or whatever the case may be, not saying that's the case in all cases, but just you have this, well, I have to do the be at work by 6, don't get off till 4, Monday through Friday. Well, how are you going to take your child to school? How are you going to pick your child up from school? How are you going to provide what needs to be provided for this child when, because of societal things that we've evolved into, which is the mother being the nurturer, the father being the provider, then you get into a situation where, well, this other person is available to do those things. And if it's, this idea of, well, I can have my mom, or I can have, the male can have somebody do that for them, help them do that, then the court looks at it like, well, shouldn't the child either be with the mother or the father first?
Yeah, there's a lot there because every situation and every relationship is different. And so in my current, my personal situation, I mean, my kid's mom is a rock star. I mean, she's just a great mom on so many levels, and she does so many things already that I don't touch just because of the dynamics that we choose to live by. I mean, she does all the appointments. She does all the scheduling. She does all the doctor stuff. The dentist stuff. the school stuff. I mean, she does a lot. And it's really all focused around she even works her work schedule around the kids.
Yeah.
So it would be, and she's very capable in that way too, to provide if she had to. And she does. But at the end of the day, every situation is different, and how you come across those conversations, depending on what that looks like. Usually the split is not nice.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
It's not a mutual thing usually. But knowing that guys, you just used a number, 70% are fighting
Plus.
uphill right from the get-go. And to your point, Chad, tying in the finance part, when you're getting hit and you're already strapped and you're working, and the middle class is going away, and it's scary, right? Because the middle class is not what it used to be. You got about half the people struggling paycheck to paycheck, more than that actually. But we'll just put the blanket on it and cover it with debt, say half, right? Because most people are not getting by. They're not making their bills every month. When you look at all the dynamics in the shrinking middle class and everything happening in these relationships, the toxic relationships, the push against men and their roles in family, and women taking different roles to the point where we're confusing, women and men and women's sports. I mean, just to the extremes, right? There's a lot of extremism out there. In a lot of extremism, I'd say 10 to 15% try to make that work in their brains.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
And then you've got all of the undertows of society. I mean, you have men now taking women's last names. And what does that look like? Where's that conversation? And I understand the representation of what that's projecting out in the world. But at what point do we not realize we're going too far in some of these things?
Well, and
it's just unbelievable to me.
I'm a
pretty traditional guy, so I struggle with some of this stuff.
And can we all agree here? I mean, this just kind of put a cap on this, that children's lives are best when there is a mother and father both in the home.
Oh, most definitely.
In unison
unequivocally.
with one another.
Statistics will tell you.
In a way in which is beneficial for the family unit, right? And that's
Most
why
definitely.
I'm a traditional.
There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, and I'm a proponent for traditional family values. That's what I think of when that takes place, is this idea that you have a mother, a father, and they're able to be partners as a team, to do the best that they can, to love and nurture one another, support one another, and then by extension their children. And I just got to say, because of a society that we live in, which is just absolutely self-centered, self-driven, what's in it for me? How can this person serve me rather than how I can help serve this person? Hopefully the pendulum swings back the other way on that, but okay, Chad.
I'll change the topic now.
Real quick, let me one more.
Okay.
Some data points to 72% of adolescent murders and 70% of long-term prison inmates come from fatherless homes.
Yeah.
T. Walton used to say that he had two kinds of people in his jail: people who didn't know their father and people who hated their father. Just saying. So I'm going to change the topic now.
Okay. Roll on.
Because there's a story that I put together, and it's today's Thursday.
Yes.
Right. Oh, by the way, the football team plays today. They're not playing on Friday, and that means that the choir concert that was supposed to happen today is not happening today, and they have no idea when it's going to happen yet. But anyway, the story that I wrote that is a good one, like positive, right? Because I feel like I'm just kind of done swimming in the river of negativity for the moment. Is that Joe Robb showed up at the Harvey County Commission this week and used the public comment section of the meeting to let the county commission know that the R. Michael Rhodes Foundation was going to drop $7,500 onto our county parks department so that they can move forward with renovations to the disc golf facility at Camp Hawk.
Awesome. Bravo.
It was the last piece of funding they needed.
Bravo.
And he just walked in off the street and said, "Here you go."
That's cool.
Right? Yeah. And
There's
there was
a lot of people that use that.
There is. And and I don't care what number you've got in your head or what your thought process of how much that place is used. You're underestimating it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just gonna say you're underestimating.
And lately, we keep knocking it out of the park with public-private partnerships.
Yes, and that's nothing new for the R. Michael Rhodes Foundation.
Yeah.
The
wetlands.
Yep.
That we have.
Public-private partnership has they've explored that a lot. You know, they helped with the new shower house at West Park, and yes, the wetlands. They were a major funder of the wetlands. They helped with the new camping cabins at Camp Hawk. Early back in the day, they were helping build trails and other stuff at Harvey County East, and that, you know, Michael Rhodes had a passion for the outdoors and for parks that would lead to kids being able to access the outdoors. And you know, that foundation, I'm gonna mess up the numbers. Joe, don't kill me, because I'm gonna mess up the numbers, but that foundation started with about $1 million in it. It's now worth $4 million, and they've given away $1 million.
Amazing.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
It's doing its job.
$1 million.
It's doing its
That's
job, and
incredible.
it's supporting. I mean, it's really supporting something great.
Yeah, multiple things that are great, right? I mean, there's this.
So
all of the things that organization and foundation has been involved in are things that will endure the test of time.
right, and I can't wait to dust off my my discs that I bought specifically for Camp Hawk, and I bought them because they float. Because there's a lake out there,
And there's one area that you can kind of catch a bad wind.
and play the course once it's been renovated and reconfigured a little bit. So
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Okay, anything else in the Kansan, Chad?
I think that's good for now. I mean, bottom line, you know, subscribe. You know, online subscriptions. Seriously, online subscriptions start at 99 cents. I'm only asking you for $1.
$1 a month.
You can get a couple free sneak peeks though if you just sign up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you can just sign up.
And you can get our newsletter, which is going to hit you with 3 headlines twice a week.
Yeah.
And straight up, that's only scratching the surface of what we're doing.
Awesome.
I mean, I do 3 headlines in a day or less.
Yeah.
You know, we're recording this what some people would call early in the morning on Thursday. By Thursday noon, I'm going to have 3 things filed.
Yeah.
3 headlines filed. So, you know, 99 cents digital
Yeah.
for a month.
Well, and you got to get up at 3:00 in the morning and get out here by 3:30. That's 3:30 a.m. runtime. That's pretty early, isn't it, guys?
Jeez, Lance. Let's not stretch the truth any here.
If you're asking yourself, do they really do that? That's almost not believable. It's because it's not believable, because it's not.
That doesn't mean I wasn't up at 3:30, but this is not where I was at 3:30
We
a.m.
need to start rolling early. Okay, so we just had a lot of engagement this last week over the last podcast, and people just reaching out and everything, and it was interesting because somebody had said, hey, you know, when you guys talk about a topic, really enjoy the conversation, wish you could spend more time on it. So instead of
Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
Yeah. And so I think, well, okay, you know, we want to keep it to an hour, obviously, because of all kinds of data, which would show that that's pretty much a sweet spot for the amount of time that people are willing to listen, honestly, because we live in a very fast-paced society, and an hour is about there. So we want to keep it to an hour, and one thing we're going to try is, you know, I'm always trying to do things a little bit different here and there to just be more accommodating to the audience. So the idea is today we're going to spend the rest of the time on one topic, and that one topic is politics, voting, the psychology behind it. I think it's fitting given the fact that we're coming up on this election, which historically is going to be a dismal turnout. sadly. When you get into off-year elections, it's always very low, and then depending upon what election is preceding it or what election is coming up, maybe even lower. And we just got out of a cycle where we had a presidential election, which is the most participated in, to now the nonpartisan election 1 year following, which just the numbers are going to be the lowest of the low.
Yes, we always have very low turnout in city school elections. And I had a conversation at church last night that I think points to some of the whys. People are, I don't want to use the words weary, but when it comes to city school elections, local elections, they're just kind of tuned out. And the conversation was kind of like this. Fellow member of the church looks at me and says, "I'll bet you love election and political season." As a journalist, this has got to be like your time of year. This is your Super Bowl. And I looked right at him, didn't miss a beat, and I said, "No, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate this time of year, and I really hate local elections." And you get the really bewildered look back.
It's not what I thought.
Yeah. And he said, you're going to have to explain that. And I said, I hate what it does to our neighbors. I hate how we forget we're all neighbors. And city school elections, inevitably, somewhere along the line, there is going to be a candidate or two or three or four that completely forget that the person they're campaigning against is not their enemy. It's their neighbor. Yeah. It's their neighbor. And this person said, I hadn't thought of that. And I guess maybe I haven't really been in tune with that.
It's because our local journalists aren't talking about it.
And I said, this is what I said.
No pun intended.
I said, we're coming out of a multi-year stretch where in our county treasurer's office we have completely forgotten that we're talking about our neighbors.
You mean my enemy?
And in this case, we're actually talking about former coworkers.
You mean my enemy?
And I said, I am so tired of that kind of nonsense. Looked at me and said, I guess I just wasn't paying attention. Was it really that bad?
Amazing.
People are just not tuned in for local elections.
Well, I think that people, but I think we would all be surprised at the amount of people that have tuned out to all elections.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because people don't want to be brought down is really what it comes down to. Either emotionally, mentally, they don't want to go through. They don't want to endure all that nonsense. And a lot of people have made up their minds. And I believe, probably at this point in time, looking at voting turnouts, right, that the majority of America's like, forget that.
So this last week we published the Board of Education profiles, right? And the week before that, we published the Newton City Commission profiles. And, it is frustrating because I sit here knowing full well there's so many people tuned out that they're not paying attention. But do yourself a favor and go ahead and read those profiles. And also spend some time dwelling on the questions that I asked. No more we. I'm the only one. Spend some time reading through the questions that I asked and think to yourself why I asked the questions I asked. What was my motivation? And my number one motivation when I sat down to craft my questions was to make sure I was asking guys like Andy questions that they needed to answer on their own merit and discuss their own policies for. Because I didn't want the mudslinging and I didn't want to see it. So I didn't ask questions about your opponents. And in the past I've been really when we've come into an election cycle that I think is going to be particularly brutal, I will ask questions, and when I do this, I do it all by email. Okay? So that you don't even have the opportunity to say I didn't hear you right. Okay? I mean, this is the one time, if you want to say I'm trapping people, this is the point. This is where I'm trapping Andy, and I'm trapping Steve Thiessen, and Bob Diepenbrock. I'm trapping you all. And I'll freely admit it. And I have gone so far as to write questions, and when I'm done writing the question, I will add a sentence to it. I am asking about you. I am not asking about your opponent. Do not mention them. I think you received one of those emails.
And I gotta say,
that's my frustration with local elections.
Well, here's the frustration that I have when it comes to elections of any kind. Is generally speaking, 99%.
I don't say 90% of my emails, just saying.
But 99% of it, 99.9% of it is done face to face through whisper and smear campaigns.
Yeah,
right.
Innuendo.
Yeah, because what happens is, and this is the thing that frustrates me the most about any kind of forum. If you have an hour-long forum and you've got 7 candidates, do the math on that.
You're getting about 8 minutes per candidate.
That doesn't include like the amount of time it takes for the individual to ask the question, right? So then you're going to take, let's add an eighth here, and if each individual person is getting 4 minutes or 5 minutes, how much are you really learning about that person?
You're not getting a whole lot.
You're not getting a whole lot. And because there's some people that are very good at sidestepping and not giving the real answer and just kind of snaking their way through it. And it's like, okay, so you just said a bunch of nothing.
Yeah.
Right? It's like this whole adage of I'm a patriot, I'm pro-America, I'm pro this, I'm pro this, I'm pro this. And then it's like, well, is their interpretation or definition of those things the same as my definition of those things? Because what is a patriot? What is a Republican? What is a Democrat? We go back to this, right? And many times it's projection on behalf of the individual recipient of that message that then says, well, they're like me. So it goes into this identity politics even then, and this back and forth. And then, no offense to the paper, right? But you've got 5 questions that they need to answer at 250 words or less because it costs money to print papers. And you're like, okay, so how much did I actually get from that?
I'm going to defend.
I try to use every word.
Yep, I'm going to defend that word limit for 1 second. I'm going to defend that word limit.
Well, you can't do much about it. You can't write an entire piece of page of it. You know,
most people wouldn't read it anyways.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know,
if you want to get to people, you have to keep it short.
Yeah, and to be fair, on top of that is I'm a dyslexic guy. That's not my favorite form of communication, but I had to do it, right? But at the end of the day, and I did it. But at the end of the day, if you can't articulate and sell yourself in that little piece, maybe you should think about what you're doing. Because public facing, people just want to know an overview. They don't need to know all the scuttlebutt. And a lot of times, frankly, and it's not because we're being secretive, or there's things that we have to make decisions on that most people will never know all the information.
Yeah.
Because unless you're there, and even people that are there don't take the time to really get to know it, other than the position that they're trying to take for their own personal purposes.
Well, do you feel the same way when it comes to... Yes,
yes,
absolutely. Do you feel the same way when it comes to forums, Andy?
Oh, yeah.
Where like
it's a dog and pony show.
Okay, so like for instance,
It's a push back if you don't think it is. I mean, I think there's some value, a quick hit to see somebody in form and how they're going to react in a public situation. You can kind of tell if somebody's equipped to step into a leadership role, or if they've been there before, or how they not try to answer questions, right? Because people are getting more hip to that nowadays of how people talk around and talk through things. I hope I have a reputation of just shooting straight to the best of my ability, right, without hurting feelings. But you just got to tell people how it is or what you're thinking.
And for instance,
question: have you guys ever watched the
real quick on the forum?
20-something?
Real quick, let me finish on the forum. I think the last forum that the Now put on, you could go to that forum and see there's very distinct differences between the 6 people
Right.
that were up there. And I think that's worth it, because the cool thing for our community is there's 6 different people. Very different. There's not 3 people a lot alike. They're very different. All of us are very different. And we all carry our own value in a different way. And the community gets a choice. And that's not a bad thing.
well, how many people showed up in person to that?
Oh, man. I couldn't tell you.
75,
Maybe.
if you're lucky.
Maybe.
Okay.
I honestly don't know, but the 75, I'd be probably pushing it.
Okay, so 50 to 75.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
think that
talking
would be a
about
fair assessment.
the amount of people that choose to engage with that.
And it's the same faces we see every year.
every year. The
Yeah.
same people involved, the same people wanting to be involved. It's not getting any more people.
And about half of those people that you see every year come in stooped in an ideology already. And they're here part of a group that's pushing an agenda.
And they're
not
looking-
even really knowing it, honestly.
They're looking
Because
for confirmation bias.
100, and they want to hear their own people
Yeah.
talk back to them, knowing that they have a fighter in the game in their mind.
Yeah.
And this is part of the psychology of the elections. Yeah.
Yeah.
Confirmation bias.
There's a lot of that. People are just looking to confirm their own biases, and that
This is why you got a guy who could run for a state representative and talk about the water rates.
Exactly.
And people aren't the wiser.
because doggone
It's
it,
true, though.
you know what? He's gonna fight for me, Andy.
Yeah.
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 He's gonna fight for me.
And for somebody to play that game, though, it tells you a lot
Give
about
me a
the
break.
individual.
But that's the game that has to be played in order to win.
It doesn't have to be played because you're a guy like me. You're going to call it out
Yeah.
eventually and go, "Oh, you're full of it." And
Yeah.
now I can't trust you
Yeah.
because you're willing to do that. And that's not the people we need in leadership roles. You got to eat the frog that's in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it's not pretty. But if you're unwilling to do that, sure, you can't lead me, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
but that means that you're going into it eyes wide open too, because how many people okay, you guys know I've been in many forums, okay? And the funniest thing to me, and I just have to shake my head and laugh about it, but you haven't even answered the question, and this is what you see in the crowd.
the problem that we have. Okay.
You catch what I'm saying? That's the way people are. They already go in there and they already are like, "Oh, I heard this about this guy from so and so and hooty hoot and what and this is how I feel about it." And then they're in there.
So here's the problem that we have with forums.
You gotta love it.
And we put one on, and I had a problem after I walked out of that building, and this problem is never going to go away as long as we're hosting forums in the format that we host them. Okay. And it's there's dozens of factors that go into it. Okay. But I would love to perform the way, what was his name? Jeff. There was a HBO television series called The Newsroom. Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
Do yourselves a favor and watch it. And it's a couple decades old by now. But there is a scene in there that shows how a forum or debate really needs to be done. And they are actually rehearsing for and trying to pitch for this anchor to moderate a primary debate.
And this is fitting for our show because that's a political drama.
Oh yeah, that's all we're about.
Yeah, oh yeah. But but you know, and I'm not doing this to, you know, downplay candidates or anything like that from back in the day or whatever. But the scene opens with said anchor looking at, I believe, a representative for Santorum and saying, tell me one right that you do not have now that you had prior to President Obama. And he starts in on talking about how terrible the Affordable Care Act was.
Yeah, not even answering the question.
Okay, so he's not answering the question. Where that went was said anchor challenging, saying, no, that's not the question I asked you. Can we get to the question I asked you? We do not do forums that way.
We do sometimes at the national level. They're trying to do that, but unfortunately, whatever network is putting that on usually has a bias towards a candidate.
Sure.
And so it doesn't look sexy. And we just saw that happen over the last 15 years, many times over.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating too. So I think there needs to be a balance, and there's really no neutral ground. We talk about the psychology, right, of some of this stuff. And most people are unaware. 80% of people are unaware.
Yeah.
And this is not they're stupid. This is not, they are Americans living their lives hoping that we are doing the job we need to do as elected officials, right?
Right.
And a lot of us elected officials are really busy in a lot of different places. That's why we end up in these positions, unfortunately.
Well, if you want something done, you always ask the busiest person you know.
Yeah.
Or the person that does something.
or the person that's been, at least has a little bit of a track record of pushing through something, right? Yeah. And some people will just show up until they end up getting it, right? And there's all types, and you got to brand yourself somewhere. And unfortunately, a lot of people like to do it because they want the title in a certain place, and they'll make it happen eventually, right? You can run 10 times and probably figure it out eventually, depending on, there's some factors there. But at the end of the day, when you look at the psychology of how we're split 50-50 for the most part, and how the income sectors are split the way they're split. I mean, you look at our community and how many people are on free and reduced lunch, how many people are struggling to get by. It's more than half, right? Yeah. And so when you talk about the disappearance of the middle class, psychology is also changing with that dynamic as a country. We are swallowed in debt. We all know it. We're getting taxed out the wazoo. We all know it. But then we're getting fed. And it's true that we have to take a risk that we don't have the money to take as a community and grow ourselves out of poverty. And that's a big leap, but we don't have no other way out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a scary time for all of us. And then there's people that get it. Like, we get it. We don't like it, but we get it. And our schools need money. And there's people that $5 million is gonna impact their budget. They're having a hard time putting food on the table, people.
Yeah, I got one.
We know this.
Yeah.
But what do you do?
Hamburger Helper was trending on X yesterday. Do you know why?
No.
It's been labeled poor people food, and its sales is through the roof.
I gotta admit, I buy a lot of Hamburger Helper.
And it's because
I like it.
Well, I do too. I've been eating it my entire life.
Same.
I'd love to be able to find the wagon wheels that my grandma used to make, right? But I can't.
Goulash is awesome. I love
goulash, I can't eat any more of that.
Some garlic salt, some Tabasco.
Their price increase hasn't been anywhere near the stuff that we've been seeing, and straight up on hamburger. And there are a ton of factors that have gone into that price increase that you're seeing on beef, people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? The first thing I'm going to say, don't you dare blame our producers. Our producers did not create this mess.
It was Obama.
No.
It was Bill Clinton.
Absolutely no.
And anything ever negative that happens if you're a Republican as a Democrat president, of course, you know this. And if you're a Democrat, it's all the Republican presidents.
So for the record,
no kings.
I voted for Obama, and that changed my whole political view after that.
A lot of people voted for
Obama for changing my life.
Hope and change. Hope and change.
But that is being held up. This whole run on Hamburger Helper is being held up as a indicator about how bad our economy is. Well, guess what? You're right. It's bad.
It is bad.
It is horrible.
And remember, as a collective, as a community, we've got to fight for the middle class.
That's right.
The middle
and
class
we didn't
makes
get
America,
here overnight.
and we are not doing a good job at that. We've got to push for each other, and we've got to create together, and we've got to fight for the middle class. Once the middle class disappears, America is no longer America.
Okay, back to psychology here. How did we go from being a people who were one and the same in order to hold government accountable, right? It was us versus them, right? Us versus them. Not them elected officials, but i.e. government, right? And what they are trying to impose on us, okay? To now it's, I want government to, I say it all the time, I want government to force and dictate onto others my beliefs on both sides of the aisle. These people over here are the enemy. They're the ones that are in the wrong. I'm fighting them. Therefore, I want government on my behalf to fight them, and vice versa. Instead of it being us, the people that are there going, wait a second. We don't want the government to intrude on our life in this way. Wait a second. We want the government to work for us, the people. Instead, it's as long as the government's working for me and against you, then I'm okay with the government. But if it's the government working for you against me, then all of a sudden it's bad government.
As long as we're all a Christian nation, I don't care what the rest of it does.
Well, you want to be a theocracy. As long as we're a theocracy, that's all that matters to me.
But this is so true, because there's some people that have different principles, right, than others, and it's hard, right, when you start looking at it, because I caught myself doing that for sure. And one of the greatest things about being in public service that I've learned, that I will take away, that I'm grateful for, even though it sucks sometimes, is the ability to get out of my own head and realize what public service really is, and trying to reach across and work with people you don't agree with, and then realizing that they're freaking great people. And we might have a few small differences, but the grace that I've been given from some people on the other side of the aisle over the last 4 years, three years, since I've ate my own frog and realized I was part of the problem, has been unbelievable. And there's layers of those people that are starting to come around me, knowing that I am not a crazy person and that I don't think they're evil, that I'm having conversations with, that are teaching me stuff. And even though I don't agree with them a lot of the time, I understand where they're coming from, and that allows me to palate that part of their life, but then realize that we're a lot the same in mostly every other way, with our love for family, our love for community, our willingness to serve, and to raise up the people around us, right? So it's been interesting, the psychology, Lance, around that. I think the we need to win mentality and the have versus the have-nots is the next thing coming our way. That's why I'm trying to sound the alert and the alarm of the middle class, and how that is so important, because again, the middle class is going away, and this has been something we've known for 20 years, and it's continuously shrinking away. When it comes us against them, the survival instincts of the 30% of people that are going to have just enough to push everybody else down, when they start attacking the 30%, which is starting to happen with some of the conversations and the billionaires and the them people, those conversations, and attacking success the way we're attacking success, it's tough. And I don't have all the answers, because I would be pissed too if I was, you know, I mean, I grew up being taught that people that had money screwed people to get there. Right? I grew up like that.
Well, it comes down to have and have-nots, and I'll tell you,
they may not have. The arena where they have is politically.
But it's starting to blur, right?
Right.
Isn't that
It
some of the
is.
psychology?
Yes.
We're
It
blurring
is.
those
Yes.
lines.
We are blurring those lines.
Yeah,
But
there's
if you
there's
have to have an enemy, right?
There's a state representative from Texas who is running for the state Senate right now. And he's been making a lot of hay with making the statement that for a lot of years here, we've been focused on the wrong 1%. Okay? Now, his percentages are off when he talks. Because he will say 1% are immigrants. No, illegal immigrants are for somewhere between 3 and 4% of our population right now. Okay? But I'm not going to let that little detail get in the way of the message that he is trying to deliver, because I think he's spot on. We're focusing on the 4%. We've had this hyper focus on the 4% of illegal immigrants. We have focused on whatever percentage you want to throw it at of people on food stamps, people on welfare. We hear this crap all the time. And where is that coming from? Really? It's coming from the 1% of the wealthy.
Well, yeah.
And they have been spending a crap ton of money to try and control all of our politicians. And so his statement is that we're focused on the wrong 1%. And I totally agree with that statement. And the reason I agree with that statement is the question that I want to ask of the 1%, and I have asked of someone locally who I believe is in that, how much is enough? And when can there be some left over for me?
So real quick on the small percentages, do we know how much our government spends percentage-wise for programs like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid? Let's just say those alone, and we'll call them entitlement programs because that's what the 1% wants to call them, right? But that's the buzzword.
They're insurance programs.
So, but
That's
do we
what
know
they
what
are.
percentage the country spends on those?
I'm going to throw out a number, $1 trillion.
No, the percent of all of the money we spend.
Okay. That's
Every
a tough
year.
one. Probably, I would guess 15%.
Okay. Do you have?
I'm not going to even hazard a guess.
It's 60
60%.
of our money goes to those programs.
Okay.
Now let's just take this a step back real quick.
But I'm going to point out to you, Andy, every one of those has a designated tax.
But how many of those people are paying into the big tax dollars that actually runs the system?
And in every one of those cases,
Think about it though.
Yeah.
And in every one of those cases,
Like New York's
that tax
about
is
to have
capped.
a major issue because they're going after a certain type of person. And in New York, a lot of those people are already giving a lot anyways. And when they do what they're starting to do, and New York's going to be a prime example here pretty soon of what's going to start happening, you're going to see that place fall apart. Real estate agents in Florida are licking their chops right now with the people leaving New York. And it's already happened in one wave. The second wave is coming. The percentage of taxes that the people that they're going after in New York, that they pay for New York just to have what they have, the numbers don't work. It's going to be catastrophic.
Well,
and
and
it's
I
going to
think
take about 10 years to fix the 4-year mistake
and
they're
that's-
about to make.
That's across the board, because what's happened is over the course of the last, I'm going to say 30 years, and maybe it's just because of, my age and coming of awareness and then studying or whatever. But I mean, we can go back even farther than that, is that our system has set up in a way that is unsustainable. It's unsustainable.
Well, the Social Security thing is a thing, right? At one time, Social Security was a very small percentage of people that people were paying into for that small percentage to be able to do what to live, which I think was a great program in its time. Social Security was never meant for retirement. And it says it on the paper if you read it. This is not, no. We're already bankrupt already. And now we have the boomers that are going to be retired. They're retiring in drones now.
And dying in drones.
They're retiring.
They're no longer the largest generation.
And medical technology has gone to where they're going to live longer than all previous generations because of medical technology, even though we do have some issues with diets and stuff. They're still going to live longer. And we have the smallest group. We just see it in the school system. So if you put 2 and 2 together with declining enrollment, because people aren't having kids, which is an issue why they probably imported 20 million people, because we're not making babies. So we got to get people from somewhere.
It's true.
So we have all of these swinging pendulums going on, right? With how we're playing with the world right now. And this is American focused. How are 150 kids that are in our kindergarten class going to pay for 230 kids that are graduating as seniors for Social Security when it's already going to be gone between us and our boomers?
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But we don't want to say that.
Yeah.
We just want to put our head in the sand and act like it's not going to happen.
As long as we can keep printing money.
But we have other things. We're 37 trillion in debt on top of all of that. On top of all that, yes. Right? Doge did not do what I wanted Doge to do. It cut some stuff, and yes, there was a lot of hundreds of billions. But when you're trillions in debt, Doge came in to really just restructure things, and I was actually really excited about that. Became a nothing burger, so I call that a political freaking stunt. It was a political
manipulation
to get more votes and get, because it worked for me.
Yeah,
it did work for me. Now, did they not do nothing? No, they did work, but it wasn't. It was the master genius marketer that Trump is.
Yeah,
whether you like him or not, the dude can do his thing, and he did it with that and other pockets. That one was attractive to me. Trust me. He had one for everybody that voted for them in that way,
well,
right?
Then that comes
and knowing that there was swaths of people that would get him over the line because he's a marketing genius.
Yes.
Okay, so that happened. We're $37 trillion in debt. We got funds going to programs that we can't afford. We're in war. We spent $9 trillion, I think, on the war that we got nothing out of. A tangible for our country, right? We've actually hurt other countries. If you want to ask my personal opinion, spending that $9 trillion, we're no better than what we were before. If not, we sold more discord around the world in those actions that we took. And we murdered a lot of people, unfortunately, that had nothing to do with the damn thing. And so here we're sitting with a collapsing economy, $37 trillion in debt, numbers that don't work, declining birth rate, people trying to go to the socialist world that people are attracted to because they're getting scared of how the hell am I going to eat? And it's working. Mm-hmm. And that's scary for America. Well, and a guy like me that's having to shift my businesses because I see the trends coming with technology and AI and other companies getting into my spaces going, where's my next pivot? Because I can't sit here and complain when I'm going to run my business till, like the English professors that are pissed off at AI right now. I'm sorry, it sucks. But damn it, the world has changed, and you can sit there and bitch about it, or you can make a change because it's going to happen. Yeah. So we can sit there and act up that we don't like it, and they have a lot of arguments that they're not bad. It's just, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It's done. We have to change. We have to adapt. We have to move.
Technology and AI has changed everything.
Humans don't like that.
Yeah. No.
You know, and I'm one of them. But you know what? I have to get over myself and go, if I'm going to survive, I need to do things differently. Right? And this is where America's having a hard time right now, is the shift that we have to make.
Well, and
what does it look like?
Take this, Andy. Okay. I just got to say this because we are coming to the end of the program and we got to give our final words. But you had said something about a shift to socialism. And then we talk about the shift that we reached.
60% entitlement programs with our current budget. So just that's scary.
Yeah, yeah.
That's middle class gone.
Yes.
That's what that tells me.
Yes, yes. Okay, so then you have that now. Then you have a not too recent. Well, just we made a shift to nationalism. Now that we've got a nationalist mindset, we're taking a shift to want socialism. The reason that we're wanting this is because the economy is bottoming out. The economy is bottoming out, and we're making enemies of everybody else based upon the fact that the economy is bombing out. So who's to blame? Do you know the exact same thing happened, and that's how Adolf Hitler rose to power with the nationalist socialist ideology?
You know, in my life, who I blame? you know who I blame?
Oh, it's crazy.
You want to know who I blame? So I'm saying all the stuff I'm saying, telling all of my friends and family and people that I love, I take personal responsibility for anything that happens in my life. And I choose to take different actions and do the best I can to lead out of the situation I'm in. And thank God I have people around me that support me and help me fight too. And I would say find your bunker buddies and build, and gals. Find the partner that will talk to you right, that you want to support, that will support you back to the best of your ability. Start communicating to your family that things are changing. And if we want the way of life we want for our grandkids, we better get off our ass and start doing something.
Yeah.
And it's all on each of us individually to come together as a collective and stop fighting the BS problems and see things for what they are, and stop getting caught in the Democrat-Republican BS thing that's just done nothing but divide us, because you divide before you conquer. And people, 60% entitlement programs, Social Security is bankrupt. It's literally a Ponzi scheme at this point in time already. Mark my words when this happens. And the people that are saying, I'm going to go back to the bond. Here's a local thing. Why the hell am I having to pay when I don't have kids in school anymore?
Because somebody paid when you were in
And you know what? I'm paying your Social Security.
Yeah.
And I don't like it, but I'm good with it, because I'm going to have to figure something else out for us, because that money's not going to be there for me. And that's how this thing works. Hopefully we can get off of our own crap and do the best we can to serve the people around us, because that's what it's going to take. And I'm optimistic. Those kids that I got to be with at Chisholm, dude, we're going to be fine. But we got to fight for them. And we got to fight with them, because one day they're going to lead us. And they're talented. And they've got a lot of ability. And we've got to know that we have to hand the baton to them and trust that they're going to do a good job.
You brought up the bond issue. I'm going to ask two questions, Andy.
Yep.
Should they be successful in March, when will construction begin?
It's a good question.
More importantly, when will construction be completed?
Well, I gather to say that the people who are in high school right now, from freshman to senior, won't see it.
No.
It'll be the middle school kids that might walk into a new building.
Here's my point.
And not even a new building,
Refurbished.
Here's
it's
Refurbished.
So,
refurbished in
here we
the way
go.
it's supposed
So
to be.
here we
Probably
go.
not, but yeah.
to those people who don't want to vote for the bond issue because you don't have kids in school anymore, I have something to say to you. And I want you to listen to the entirety of this statement. Number one, I paid property taxes so your kids could go to school. And my kids are in school right now. I paid property taxes so that your kids could go to school. And my kids are in school right now. So one could say it's now my kids' turn. But my kids will all be graduated before this is over.
Mine too.
Same. Well,
I'm probably still voting for the vote bond issue because it's not about my kids. It's about the community's kids. All of them. When we talk about the issues with Social Security, again, it's about all of us. And we need to have those conversations based on all of us.
100.
I'm done with the political camps.
yeah.
And for whatever reason they exist, it is time for us as statesians. That's my word, and it's made up intentionally. It is our time as statesians to knock off the discussion about me. We need to talk about what is best for all of us. This document is about what's best for all of us. They didn't write this for political camps. They wrote this for every man, woman, and child in the United States. And you know what? That can be my final word for today, too.
Andy, final word.
I'm inspired.
Yeah.
Final word is I was walking with those gals that were taking us on that trip with the principal out there at Chisholm, Miss Tiff, I call her. I've known Steffi for a really long time. So it's kind of weird because I see her more as a friend. And then, relationship things, you got to be careful with dynamics because I respect her position and how she's earned that. She's doing a great job out there. But she was walking with these three kiddos that were taking us on a tour. and just the skill level, the talent, the wittiness, the charm, the tempo in which they took us through that tour. I'm just so damn proud of our railers. We have some amazing kids in this community that are going to do great things, and we just got to build the best we can to give them, hand off to them something that's going to be tough for them to deal with. But I am so confident now, especially after that. That just tipped the scales for me, because all I could see was our future leading the way when they were walking us through those buildings. And I'm very proud of those gals. I'm very proud of what we're doing here with the kids and for the kids. We're not going to leave it perfect, but we got to leave it a little better than what we found. And if we're going to do that, we got to get on our horses and ride. So I'm very optimistic about our future. I think it looks very bright in those kiddos. We have to manifest and believe that, and we have to preach and talk into them in a different way than what we're doing now. Because how we're beating them down right now and not encouraging them is not going to help our futures. We've got to snap, and we got to get ourselves out of it and look up and start supporting them. And that first comes with encouragement and speaking great things into existence and praying over them, because they're going to do amazing things, and they got a big job to do, but I believe they're going to get it done.
And just full swing, my final word here is the same people that were taking you on the tour, as we just covered, are not even going to reap the benefits of what's to come once this bond passes.
They might be seniors when that happens. Maybe.
Yeah. All right. I guess my final word is, are you the type of person that's willing to plant a tree knowing that you'll never be able to sit in the shade of that tree, but that someone else will be able to sit in the shade of the tree that you planted, and therefore you can get as much self-gratification as humanly possible knowing that others will reap the benefits of what you sowed? Have a good week, everybody.
Later, fellas.